You're the Florida version of Sex in the City, JD.
That's when I was smoking my cigar.
Never stop chasing your dreams.
And never say never.
Don't be an asshole today.
Hey! Here we are again. I like it.
Halloween show, right?
I love the Halloween show.
Oh, she.
I ate all of my candy on the way here. I was so stressed out. We had a couple of those paychecks, like a little bowl with few of those paychecks.
Yeah.
They are so fun. Payday, not paychecks.
Payday.
Um,
I've been going a little crazy on the Reese's mini pumpkins and bats and ghosts and
oh my God, I know, right? So I got so stressed out with the insurance. I had some insurance issues today that I started eating candy. And today was supposed to be the day I didn't have sugar. I was starting my diet today.
Well done.
I was like,
Right.
it's that drinking.
So we're gonna have Aria Velz on, the critical lesbian, and
Yes.
hopefully she's got some Halloween recommendations for the girls.
Some spooky recommendations. Let me see.
Hey.
Hey,
Hey, how are ya?
Halloween recommendations.
Nice to have you back. Look, Denise is ready for the Halloween show.
I'm ready for Halloween.
Heck yeah, Halloween, baby.
Yeah, we were just saying we both started going through the candy already. I know I should have bought it the day before.
I had such a stressful day, Aria. Something with the insurance was happening at work, and I go, I have to leave, and they didn't call me back, and the critical lesbian is coming today. My sister goes, who's the critical lesbian? Only one of my favorite guests on the podcast.
Oh, shucks.
Yes, I said, I love Critical Lesbian Day. So
that's so sweet.
So
happy to be here.
You got Halloween plans? Like, do you guys go to parties? Do you dress up? Do you stay home, give out candy?
This year we're like taking out our godson trick-or-treating. Yeah, so KJ and I are going to dress up. Our godson specifically requested that she dress up as a mermaid and I dress up as a dinosaur. So we're gonna do that.
Oh,
oddly, two things that don't go together.
We'll make it work.
You got to do what the kid wants. That's so nice. I love that.
I love that there's a request in. That's great. I just bring a huge bucket of all different kinds of candy, and I put it in the lobby of the flats that we share a parking lot with, because I see the kids out there playing all the time. Like they do the chalk writing all over the parking lot, and since they were little. So we have a gated community, so I don't get anyone at the door, and I'm like, this is bullshit. so
I get that now. I thought it was bushy. I get it.
It is bushy. I'm kidding. But yeah, so I don't get any kids. So the only way I have any fun is to just drop off a big thing of candy in the lobby for them guys. And then usually about 2 or 3 days later, I get a knock at the door, and the little the plastic pumpkin that I put all the candy in, they return it with a few of the candies that they got from actually trick-or-treating with a thank you note.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, like we trade.
Children so polite.
They really are, I always forget their names. I think it's Eva and Victoria. But yeah, they're adorable. So
90-year-olds I have 90-year-olds in my building. I don't do trick or treat.
So lucky. You don't even have to worry about it. But do you do anything with your nephews?
My mom's neighborhood does a great thing for Halloween. Everyone's out in their driveway, and they have the candy for the kids, and then most people have a bucket with little airplane size drinks like booze, like
Oh,
little
cute.
rums and
Yeah.
Jack Daniels whiskeys and stuff,
Yeah, the dads.
yeah, and then they have like non-alcoholic stuff. But they started that around 2018, and the reason I know that is because that was the year I was going through a really bad breakup, and my nephew Jack was a little kid. He was little. He's
Yeah.
older now, but anyway, he was young enough to be like, and like he wanted kids to go with, and it was just us. So he partners up with these two little girls, but they were older, right? So he
Hmm.
thought they were his girlfriend. So he was so happy in his little
Oh,
pipe,
that's so cute.
chunky on top of it. So there he is. And then these two. So I'm sorry, it was one girl. Let me back up. It was one girl, and he's all happy. I'm going with my girlfriend trick or treating, and they're going up from one house to another. And then she meets up with her friend, and now they become the mean girls. And he was younger and unable to keep up with them. And there he is running after them.
Oh,
I was so miserable walking around the
Oh.
streets with my niece because I was going through my breakup, and I'm like, don't chase her, Jack. It's not. She's only gonna break your heart. Poor little guy. He got to one driveway, he couldn't keep up, and he just put his pumpkin down and he started crying. I'll never forget that. And
Oh.
they were all like, we're going to the next house. And they were older, and they just didn't want the little kid around anymore. Anyway, yeah, vividly remember that. But we
Look at
usually
you
do my mom.
spewing out life lessons to the kid. She's just gonna break your heart.
I'm giving it. Don't chase her. It's not worth it.
Fantastic. That is fantastic. Now, do you guys are you scary movie lovers or no?
Oh yes, I enjoy a horror movie, and I get scared very, very easily, but I find the genre to be very creative and imaginative and just a really great um a really great world to play in for a metaphor and for, untapping people's fears in a way that I think like a lot of other genres just inherently don't. So I'm a big fan.
Wow. I cannot. I'm a hocus pocus level. You know what I mean? That's me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Witches of Eastwick, like that, that's about it for me. Like I'm not into like the gore or horror or anything, but I'm very much we're into Agatha all along.
Yes.
Wow, is that ever good? Whew.
The latest episode I thought was like by far the best.
Yeah, 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 the Patty LuPone one, right?
Yes, the Patti LuPone episode.
And I just read somewhere that two episodes drop next week in celebration of Halloween. So I'm like, oh,
Oh,
thank
good.
this wait and week thing. I hate
Yeah.
it. Oh my God, I'm such a binger. So I'm
Do
like,
you
I'm
have
yeah, so
like
I'm psyched for
a
that.
limit on how scary you'll go? Like, are there like, do you stop at anything? Like, I have limits on where I'm going to stop that I
Mm.
can't take. Or do you look at it strictly from a creative part, like the critical part of you, and
Well,
understand
just
it's all
as
movie?
yeah, as an audience member, I don't care for gore that much. I don't really care for body horror that much.
Yeah.
Um, I really like more of this atmospheric slow burn tension kind of horror. Like something like, It Follows or like The Babadook or something are like, modern examples of those kinds of movies. I don't really like a lot of jump scares.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that kills me, right? Exactly. Like I just I just blow right by it, like I won't even put it on. But but yeah, I know it seems like, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, that it's becoming a more celebrated genre, you know. And people are into it. It's yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm seeing a lot of like recommendations, I guess, out there, pretty mainstream like horror stuff. But is there lesbian horror films?
There's so many lesbian horror films.
Is there
Absolutely.
really?
It's a pretty in terms of like genre like horrors and thrillers. are pretty plentiful with queer women characters in like good and bad ways, but you rarely see like lesbian fantasy movies or action movies.
Right.
But you'll see a good amount of horror.
Wow. I had no idea. That's
We're missing them, right? Or
well,
are they? Do they have lesbian characters? Is it like the slasher movies with the people that are stuck in the woods and
There are a couple. There's certainly a couple of those. And I think that there are now some like more queer interpretations of these classic genres. Like, Fear Street is like a popular example of that. Is like a trilogy of films, that is about like it's a love letter to the horror genre, and each movie has like a different element of horror. There's the slasher. There's like the dark historical drama. There's like the blood and guts 70s style, and each of those films have like the same core cast of characters,
oh, that's really
and it's led by a lesbian character.
wow.
oh, cool.
That's an interesting way to go about it, like because you're right, they're so specific. Like period pieces, that are horror films or that they're so specific, like Dracula ones
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
yeah, then you have like the 70s ones that are definitely, a little more on the gore. Um
Yeah.
yeah, but I was stunned when I realized like my friends made a independent film called Under the Influencer. And
Mm.
and I'm so happy for them because it's like winning all kinds of awards and everything now that it's been accepted in a bunch of film festivals, and they went to the queer part of Cannes Film Festival. Um and it's so funny because my friend that lives here that worked on it, she keeps saying, "Well, pick a night, like well, I'll bring a screener over and we can watch it." And I finally realized that it's going to be like a total thriller, like real suspenseful and a little
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
psychological,
I
and
didn't know that.
keep putting it off. I
Thought
don't know that I'm
it
ready
was
for
a
it.
romantic. I thought it was a rom-com. I didn't know it was a thriller.
Yeah, no, it's a definite psychological thriller. And so yeah, like, and
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the trailer and I get it, but you know, um, now that I'm seeing more bits and pieces of it because of the publicity that it's starting to pick up traction, I'm like, oh, I just keep putting it off. Like, I don't know if I want to put myself through it.
But the ones that I get scared the most with the ones that could really happen, like the serial killers, or when someone is kept in a
Mm-hmm.
basement or a box under the bed or something like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
Right.
That's the one. That's the stuff that I can't watch. Like I
yeah,
can watch the oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the ghosts and the stuff that's like supernatural. That's
Paranormal,
yeah,
occult.
paranormal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
paranormal. Yeah, yeah. Like what's that? The Conjuring. Like that was that a
The
trilogy?
Conjuring.
That
Hmm.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can watch that stuff, but when it's could really happen, I get worried. Worried it's going to give people ideas, like
yeah,
people that might
yeah,
not have thought of it. Crazy
yeah,
people.
exactly.
Interesting.
It's funny because, I think when I was younger, I was one of those like, if everybody's doing it, yeah, I'll do it, but that was the one
Mm.
thing that they couldn't talk me into, was like going to see the Blair Witch Project, or, going to
Yeah.
see nope, nope, no, can't talk me. We got weed. Nope, still not going. We're gonna party afterwards. Nope, still not going. Like, that was just the one thing I would not bend on. I'm not going.
Right.
I feel like I live my life in fear. I'm an anxious person all the time. I'm constantly worried about everything, and I don't want to pay to feel that way. I do it for free. I'm not going to pay to feel anxious and upset. It's not. It's
What
not.
you don't think of, Gemma
Yeah.
thinks of, right? To be afraid of, right?
Yeah, I said I mentioned
She's
something like
more health
stupid
stuff.
last night that I was like stressing over, and she was like, if you would have told me, I would have. I was worried about, we were having boiler issues, and I was worried about not being able to top it up or whatever. And she was like, if you would have told me, I would have,
Hmm.
before I went to bed. And I was like, I just didn't think of it. She goes, well, that's okay. It gave you a nighttime thing to stress about. Like, she just
I
knows
love it's a tomorrow problem.
tomorrow
That's great.
problem.
That's a problem for
Yes.
small.
Yeah,
We don't
that's
think that way here,
yeah, that's
but
me. So I don't, do, as far as like I don't, do you find right now that people are like really into it because like everything's kicked up a notch because it's Halloween? Are you getting people that are bugging you to review those or put out a list of those kinds of films and stuff?
I haven't so far. I have been trying to plan like videos about certain horror movies I think are underrated or like ones that I talk about quite frequently that I still don't think have really caught fire with queer women, but I haven't gotten too many uh requests for like spooky horror films
So people
yet.
must know where to get them. I
I
guess
mean, maybe I've just done such a great job of proliferating that information, and
yeah, they don't have to
that
bother you
people
for
don't even need it.
it.
They're like, we already know where to go.
And they're on like all the different streaming platforms then I would imagine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
what are
Several.
some
Yeah.
that you recommend? Some that you could mention that we might not know
Yeah.
about?
Well,
There are one?
I have a poster of this one right here, Thelma. I always think I consider Thelma like my favorite lesbian horror movie, maybe like one of the best lesbian horror movies around. It is a um I believe it was like a 2020 film. Another like slow burn, supernatural-ish film. It's about like it's a Norwegian film about a girl who's new to university, and so and she starts developing this crush on a classmate who's another girl, but she's like deeply religious, and so she tries to suppress this crush. But the more she suppresses this crush, she develops these like psychokinetic powers. She's able to not able to control it initially, but able to lift things with her mind and like make things explode, cause things to move. And so it's about the relationship between power and repression, about religion. It's about trying to unlock your own abilities and use them for your own whims. And it's like it's very creepy. It's very atmospheric. There's not jump scares, but there's just like this looming sense of dread over it, coupled with like this girl who's coming to terms with being queer. And I love it. I think it's such a great film.
Wow.
So she's like not doing good things with this power, like she's because of the.
Well, I mean, a big theme of the movie, I don't know, not to spoil, I don't want to spoil much, but a theme in the movie is like, is is something inherently evil or not? Like, is power inherently evil, or are you the arbiter of what power, on whether your own power is good or evil? That's like a central theme within, and it's connected to her repressing her sexuality, like because being religious, there's a part of her that's like, well, this is inherently bad, but it doesn't have to be. Like, it can be like whatever she conjures it to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
That sounds
Interesting.
interesting. I have to look for that. Where is that? Where can you find that? Is it on streaming like
Mm,
those?
I think it was on Hulu at some point. Let me see. Uh, that was a 2017 movie. I think right now in the US you can only like rent it or buy it off of YouTube or Apple TV. But I think it's worth it. I think it's totally worth paying like $4 to rent.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look for
Yeah,
that.
that's not bad. Right, right. Okay,
Do you
that's a
keep
good one.
notes on a scandal, a thriller, because it's listed as a thriller?
Yeah,
Are you familiar?
oh yeah, it's a thriller. Yeah, I would say it's a thriller. Yes. It's not a thriller in like a Halloween type of thriller, but like it
Right,
is very
right.
much a thriller.
Yeah.
I was surprised that they listed that as a thriller because because she's an older lady that's the villain that I didn't think of it that way until I was saw it
Mm.
was listed as a thriller. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I that movie was it was intense,
Notes on
like
a
it was
that.
Scandal.
intense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was really intense. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I
Um,
mean, there's a fine line between like something being scary and something being suspenseful and something being intense,
Right.
you know? So yeah,
Yes.
it's the whole like we had Rakefet Abergel on, and she specializes in like horror short films.
Oh, very
Like
cool.
he was talking about Still, about the baby.
Hmm.
Jackson Love is another one where she kind of turns into a creepy stalkery kind of, thing. In their short films. And I don't even think I can handle those, like even short film, I don't think I can.
Yes.
I'm such a wuss, like I really just don't like that feeling. But I mean, I like suspenseful, like intense stuff. Like
Right.
I felt like True Detective was a really fine line. This past one because there was some jump scares.
Oh, yes.
You
There
know,
Oh, yeah.
was.
I mean, I would say this. Yeah. I mean, it teetered on like supernatural horror, even.
yeah, yeah, that was layered. That was layered. But
Yes.
Good
yeah,
enough on it.
that's about my limit. You asked what my that was it. That was it. That was tweaking.
Yes.
tweaking
I think
yeah,
Thelma, I think you could totally handle Thelma because it's again, it's more eerie, it's more like it's more looming, it's more dreadful, but they're not a lot of scares necessarily. It's not built to like scare you and then back off. It's built to just
right,
continue to build.
right. That's okay. Yeah,
Lurking around the corner and the
yeah,
suspenseful music and the dark hallway.
I think just an overarching sense of like what is going to happen. Is she going to figure out these powers and you learn more about them and like there's just like so much there's just like a lot of deeper things that just really makes you lean in.
Yeah.
and that's
Does
from
your wife
2017. Okay.
appreciate? Does your wife appreciate the horror thriller genres?
Oh yeah, she also likes horror. Yeah, I think she's less into thrillers, I think. It depends. She likes like ghost things. She likes ghost things, she likes witches. She likes more of the supernatural stuff um uh, than something that is like a serial killer
Yeah,
necessarily.
yeah.
Um,
I feel like crime documentaries now, true crime documentaries are on the verge of being horror because
Yeah.
it's such horrific stuff that they're like delving into, you know?
yes.
And that's just like another one. Like I can't really watch that stuff. Like I just especially
Hmm.
more because it's true, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
oh
Yeah.
man.
How many
Mhm.
people go
That makes
missing? It's unbelievable. These shows could have season after season with, every episode with people that disappeared.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's, did you happen to see? I love your take on the front room. Did you happen to see that with Brandy? It's kind of new.
The front room.
Yeah, it's new. It just hit the
Oh, oh,
page.
oh, right. I
Yeah,
haven't seen it.
it's listed as a thriller, but I
Uh-huh.
was so mad. I spent $20 to watch it because I was going to go to the movies and watch it, but then it was out of the movies in like 2 weeks and it was on
Right.
HBO and or A24, I think it is, not
Yeah,
HBO.
A24.
What is A24 movie? Is that like a different type of movie? Because I heard critics.
It's a production. It's a production company.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just a production company. Okay, because
Yeah.
when the people were talking about it, because on YouTube there were people that felt like I did. Like I was just like, I wanted my $20 back. I was so mad that movie was so awful. It wasn't a
Dang.
thriller. It didn't make sense. It was just gross. And like without giving too much away, that there's the mother-in-law is like this pain in
Hmm.
the ass, really, and you keep thinking she's going to be supernatural, but not really. But then they're more like, I don't
Right.
know, maybe I didn't look at it the right way. It seems like she's more it was more like dreams, daydreams, not really like she was
Mm.
supernatural, but she keeps there was just a lot of mess, like she was incontinent, so there was a lot of that, like she had to
Oh,
keep.
yeah, I don't like
Well,
scatological
I'm
stuff.
going to
Yeah.
tell you that there
I
was
didn't
a
even know
lot.
there was a word for it.
It was too much.
Yes.
No, she'd go like MESS mess, and that meant that she made a mess. And Brandy was the daughter-in-law that had to clean it up because the husband was always working. I don't know. I'd love to know what
Right.
you think, but don't pay any money to watch it because that that do are critics for movies. Most everyone hated it, and it didn't like hit any of the marks. It
Right.
wasn't. It didn't make sense. There were
Right.
things. Why would you put your baby in the front room and your bedroom's upstairs? No one would do that. It was that kind of a thing. When you get a chance, I'd love to get your take on it. If you have 2 hours to waste,
Hey, watch this really
Sure.
shitty movie.
watch this movie.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I love how you're just like, you need to really watch this bad movie. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'd love for you to just take 2 hours out of your day and watch this shit fest that I spent
And then
money
want those 2 hours back when you're done because you're so mad. I wanted the money and the 2 hours back, so maybe don't watch it. But it was just
on.
really, I just thought it was going to be good because Brandy was in it and it was on the big screen. We went to the movies and I thought,
Mhm.
well, if Brandy, I know she's not like this big actress, but she's kind of famous, right? Denise is looking at me like,
She's very famous. Yes.
Yeah,
I
in a
just
sense.
thought it was going to be good. It was, it's basically they moved the mother-in-law in because they're going to get her money. That's the deal. If you take me in, when I die, you'll get my money. And she was old, which what didn't make sense is how old she was compared to how young the son was. But that was another thing. Like a lot of things didn't make sense that way. And
Right.
anyway, yeah, I just didn't know if you had seen it, what you thought about it. Don't waste your
Nope.
time.
Definitely not on my radar.
And
Get it.
will not be. And will not be. I just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, I get so disappointed when I hear a bunch of stuff about like a film and then I'll watch it and then I don't appreciate it like everybody else did. Like I watched Challengers with Zendaya.
Mm.
I watched it,
Zendaya, yeah.
yeah, I watched it on the plane. And because everybody was talking about it, and I watched it and I just didn't like it. I was just like, oh my God, it was, you know, it was so much about nothing, like the end result to me wasn't worth putting that much time into it. Like I just was not,
Yeah.
and I'm not a tennis person, so didn't really appreciate, the tennis part of it. And then everybody's like, "Ooh, there's a great threesome in it." It was some kissing. That was and it's
That's you
yeah,
were promised threesome and they didn't give you threesome.
don't be putting that bug in my ear and then not delivering. I was like, "Oh my God." Yeah, it was like, "Oh crap." So I can relate to like being disappointed in something, that you
Yeah.
kind of had high hopes for. And to be honest with you, I wasn't a huge Zendaya fan to begin with, but I thought maybe this will be the thing. But
What?
honestly,
What's wrong with Zendaya?
no. It's not that I just haven't seen that many things with her in it.
I see.
I
I
didn't
see.
watch I
Okay,
didn't
you're
watch
excused.
yeah, I didn't watch Euphoria or any of that stuff. But the thing of it was is I liked her in the movie. Like I thought she was great. It was the two guys that really put me off. Like they were just
Right.
not not what I when I think of other people that could have been cast in it, I'm like, why did they go this way? Why did they go with
Mhm.
two virtual unknowns? But
Right.
yeah, overall,
Interesting.
wasn't great. But I do now. I mean, now I will watch more stuff with her in it and hope that it's better. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. She's
Maybe
adorable.
I'm in the other one, in the next one.
Yeah, I will. I will definitely be a supporter, but not because of that movie. And, you know, so yeah, I get it. I hate being disappointed in something you just invested 2 hours in, but
Oh, no.
I was on the plane. I had
That's
nothing to lose.
$20, Denise. $20.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's the worst. Well, overall, I probably paid 1,200. So
That's true.
Yeah.
She said to me, I have to watch this movie. That's my niece, just because I can't believe you spend so much time talking about how much you hate this movie. Now I have to see it. And I'm like, don't waste your time.
that is that is
But
your
from a
relationship.
professional, critical point, you might want to see it so you too could hate it.
Sure, sure.
She's
Just skip
selling
past
it. She's selling it hard.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I hate it so much. Anyway, yeah.
Oh my God. All right, give us one aside from the one that you just mentioned, is there a traditional
Mm.
lesbian Halloween movie that you can think of off the top of your head that we should
Well,
have?
traditional, by traditional you mean like a go-to that people have? Like that kind of thing?
A
Or like an
go-to,
older movie?
Yeah, a go-to, one that maybe was popular that we all missed out on. But we
I don't
should
know.
watch it
Well,
this
I don't know.
Halloween.
So there are two answers. What there's one answer that I would say is like a very popular go-to when people are like, "Oh, lesbian horror movie." Often like the most mainstream closest right now for a while has Jennifer's Body. Like that
Oh,
is one in which like a lot of queer women are like, "Yes, Jennifer's Body, that
yes.
was totally my, awakening or whatever." So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's one
A
that
lot of
people
buzz
like.
about that one when that came out. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and that, that had very, very fun, wacky horror comedy. And then I'd say like a really big mainstream like lesbian horror is Bodies, 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 another horror comedy that only came out like 2 years ago, I think.
Okay.
And that's like it's kind of like a Gen Z riff off, and then there were none.
Okay.
But like in a party, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's one that people like. I think one that I think more lesbians should watch that isn't really popular right now is Attachment. I think like Attachment is cool. It's like it is a part like rom-com, part horror story. It takes place, I believe it's Danish. It's about these two women, they meet, and then in whirlwind romance, like they meet that night and then they spend the next 3 days all together and then decide to like move in together in London.
Of course.
Um,
I realize.
and then yes, and then one of the women starts having these like really weird seizures at night and does like these really creepy things. And so the two of them have to go to her home where her mom is, and her mom takes care of her, but there is like suspicion from this girlfriend on whether the mom is really taking care of her or like keeping her sick, or if there's any like weird magic happening. And so there's this element of like Jewish folklore to it, because then the girlfriend starts researching Jewish folklore because this woman is Jewish, and finds that there's some connection to these strange happenings with her and Jewish folklore as she's trying to like preserve this new relationship.
Wow.
Um, it's really cool. It's like it's a very that's another one where it's not a lot of jump scares. It's the build in the movie is a lot, I would say, a lot more satisfying than like the climax to it, but I think it has like a lot of say about the nature of love and what we do for love, and the connection between like our culture and folklore and fear. I think it's pretty cool.
Let me ask you this, like, how do you find these movies? Like, they're so obscure. Like you said, it was a Danish movie. Like, is that like
Yeah.
somebody recommended it or you found it?
Yeah, I mean, I will look, I look everywhere. I look everywhere. I will look up. I will often, something I will do is like I will scour YouTube. I have like this specific YouTube account that I literally only watch lesbian movies or TV from. And so I'll just try to go down a rabbit hole until I get to something that I'm like, oh, I've never heard of this. This feels really obscure. And it might be like a 4-minute clip from a movie or from a TV show, and then I try to find that movie or TV show. So
Okay.
that's a way that I can try to find really obscure stuff. Or if not obscure, at least stuff that's like not as easily accessible to where I am in the US. Um,
Mhm.
so I do that, but then I just also look at lists that other people compiled. I will look on Letterbox to see if like there are films. I like used to Letterbox a lot, except there are a lot. Oftentimes there are these lists of like lesbian movies, and then like those movies aren't lesbian movies. Like stuff like that. But
Yeah,
I really try to scour the internet, and now I have like enough of a following that people who follow me will recommend things for me to watch, which I always really appreciate.
that's cool. Yeah, yeah. I was wondering about that because yeah, some of these things I was just like, now where would you stumble upon that? Your
Yes.
algorithm must be kick-ass. I mean, honestly, your algorithm must be like to die for.
I try. I gotta keep that algorithm. You gotta keep on feeding the algorithm lesbian stuff so they keep putting out lesbian stuff to me.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. That's the key to it, I think, now that I'm, understanding it more. And honestly, I've really like laid off of Instagram because I know I screwed up my own algorithm, So I was just like, "Ugh, I'm not doing it." But right now everything is so political. So,
Right.
every one of my social media, the content right now is just so political. So that's kind of like
Hmm.
breaking me. I'm like, oh my God, 12 more days, I just can't.
Right.
It's really like doing my head in, but
How'd you screw up your algorithm with the political stuff or with
uh
the modeling babies?
yeah, in Instagram it used to be baby led weaning where they start trying new foods. That was
To
for a while, and um cats, a lot of cats. And I was just like, why is this all I'm seeing? And then I'm finally like figuring it out because that's what you're watching, and now
Right.
it's like I just like oh my God, I've had too much of that. Like, and everybody uses like the same sound stuff with it. And I was getting sick of hearing those things and everything. So I was just like, oh, I need to lay
Mm.
off Instagram. I can't deal with this. But like I said, right now everything is so political, and I follow like a lot of news sites as it is, but like just getting bombarded, with every little line, headline, clickbait, everything. I'm like so sick of it. I mean, I just feel like I just want to get through it. I just want to get through it and have things just settle down because it's just so the rhetoric is just like too much. Like it's literally
Of course, yeah.
overwhelming. Yeah.
It's
So
tough.
we all have to just like, do our part. JD, if I find out you didn't vote, I'm gonna
Oh, no, I vote.
punch you in the
I
face.
do vote. I do
Okay.
vote.
Okay.
I might not always watch politics, but I do vote.
Okay, good.
Um, do you like the real scary, like when Denise was talking about the true crime stuff? Do you watch any of that stuff? Like, you know, uh, all of those shows. There's so many shows that I mean, there's a bunch of them that I watch. There's like Disappeared and um, I don't know. 2020 has usually their thing is
I
all that
haven't
time.
I don't know. I've like listened to true crime podcasts before. I don't think I'm really into true crime as much right now. But I will take a look at like an in-depth documentary about like specific a very specific case, very specific murder case. I
Yeah.
recently actually watched this new documentary movie about oh God, what is it called? Um it's about how the Tegan and Sarah got catfished,
Oh,
Wow.
or
yeah.
Fanatical, the catfishing of Tegan and Sarah. That's like a
Yeah.
Hulu documentary movie right now. Like I'll watch that.
Yeah, I would do that. I think, the ones that are more high profile,
Hmm.
I remember when the biggest story around was the Lacey Peterson murder, and
Yeah.
then
Yes,
we heard
yes.
nothing, and now that's coming up again because this guy's appealed it and his appeal has come up, and I'm like, oh my
Right.
God, like here we go again, the Menendez brothers, all
Yeah.
that stuff. So yeah, like it's just they just come back around. You don't even have to find current ones. The old ones are making their way back,
Right.
you know.
Oh, well, those serial killer shows, a lot of them are from the 70s. I said I didn't realize how many serial killers were around in the 70s. Like we
Yes.
always felt pretty
Yeah.
safe, but
I mean,
Oh,
have you
yeah.
watched the show Mindhunter?
no.
I
I
think
love
I
Mindhunter.
think I saw an ad for it, but I didn't go into it.
That's a great show. That's basically it's a David Fincher TV series, and it's about it depicts kind of like the beginning of the study of serial killers, because the concept of a serial killer is like very very modern. It only really came out in like the 60s and 70s. So it's about like the invention of serial killer profiling. And I really like stuff like that. Like I think that's very fascinating.
It's funny. My wife went on a late night walking tour of Jack the Ripper
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
in London, and she came back
wow.
and she said I was a little bit disappointed because so much new stuff has come to light about it, but these
Mhm.
tours are so based in the old findings and the old,
Yeah.
stuff that nothing
Yeah.
nothing was as current as the stuff that, we have seen on TV. So that part of it was disappointing, but yet it was still interesting to go, down in all those alleyways and, all that kind of stuff and be creeped out a little bit. But yeah, I was like, you're so brave.
He gets right in there and does it. You don't even want to watch the movie.
There you have it. Yeah. Yeah. She loves that stuff. Like she does the old, like discontinued underground tours of the when an underground line becomes discontinued or whatever. Yeah, like going to an abandoned psycho ward. Yeah. No, nope, not for me. So she'll do that kind of stuff. But again, we're not blood and guts kind of stuff. Like I think we both were at our peak at True Detective. I mean, even when I was younger, I think my peak was Flatliners.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh, Flatliners.
Yeah. Like that was it. I was like, oh, never again, I left there all like, oh my God, I didn't realize that was gonna be so scary. My friends were like, scary. Like, Jesus Christ, really? So yeah, that was like,
Right.
That's enough for me. But yeah, so good. Well, we got some solid recommendations for
Heck yeah.
Halloween with your boo. So that works, right?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, we appreciate you taking the time out and keeping us updated.
Always.
Do you have a costume yet? Your dinosaur costume yet, or do you still have to get
I
that?
don't. I should buy that. I should figure that out.
Got to get on that, man. Those things are going to go quick.
Yeah.
I love that he had, opinions, that he had requests for you too.
Yeah, good luck on the mermaid one too. Geez, that's
yes.
Yeah, that might be a little easier.
KJ seems convinced that she'll have it.
Really? Oh, good for her.
Yeah.
She believes in herself. I like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a tall order. Seriously, like if you're not going to homemake something, that's tall order. And even if you are homemade, doing homemade,
right?
Whew, yeah, that's tough. I just look back at some pictures of my Halloween costumes when I was little, and had some big laughs. Like I have to say, my mother was really good at throwing together a costume. Like I was everything from Little Bo Peep to Robin Hood to wait, it gets better, to Robin Hood to Rocky Balboa.
Oh man,
that's when I think,
cool.
oh my God, how did they not know I was a lesbian? Gray sweats, the hat, bandage on the nose, black eyes. Yeah.
That's funny. I look back at not the Halloween, but just my older pictures and say, how did they not know? Like I wore a leisure suit, which was in style back then, to like somebody's wedding. And I'm like, how did no one know? I was 14, Yeah,
I got a communion picture. And it was like the snap of the whole, communion outfit. And then within 30 minutes after we, got home and there was like a big party, I was in a Cincinnati Reds hard hat, baseball shirt, riding a 10-speed bike with my baseball mitt hanging off of it. And I'm like, wow, even then. But yeah, some of the Halloween stuff is primo, priceless. So I may even send you some of those pictures. You can fly them right in right now.
I would send them and they'll be right here in this part of the show.
Excellent. Well, on that note, I better get busy.
I promise you I will vote. I promise I'm going
to
vote.
Voting is,
thank you.
Everyone vote.
It's fundamental. Okay.
Thank you so much, Aria. Always a pleasure.
Of course. Thank you both.
Have a fun time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch. That's true. My addiction. And I confess, my addiction is you. Don't ask me why I'm here tonight. I had to take this midnight drive to find you. And as I come in through the door, I see her dancing on the floor beside you. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to addiction is you. You look at me and in my eyes you see the hurt I can't disguise. I watch you, and though it seems I look right through, I'm noticing your every move. She's got you. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And I confess, my addiction is you. You're my addiction. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And I confess, my addiction is you. I turn away to mask the pain, but jealousy reveals my rage and madness. And knowing you can read my mind consumes me in a shameful kind of sadness. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And I confess, my addiction is you. You are my drug, my ever waking need. I got you in my blood. You've got me on my knees. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And I confess, my addiction